Judging timer ready? All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I'm here in the strongest affirmation of the piece of legislation. Now, I'd like to go over a few points that have been previously brought up. Senator A2 and Senator A9 put it perfectly. If you were to cut the taxes, the middle class would have more money, meaning they would spend more, and this lower tax cut would actually end up boosting the economy. Senator A2 and Senator A9 put it right on the spot. It's simple economics, like Senator A2 brought up. If the consumers are spending more, it's actually going to boost the federal economy. It's going to boost us into the economic future. Now, I'd like to go over my first point of why this is a good thing. This 30% tax cut, like it's been brought up, we've had numbers jump around like 8.8, 4.7, 4.9. It's been proven by the negation senators, yes, the tax is 4.7%. But if we were to do this cut of the 30%, it would make it 3.29%. This 3.29% would actually boost the California economy, like Senators A2 and A9 brought up. If this tax cut were to be applied, the consumers would be spending more, and they would actually be boosting the economy. Now, I'd like to look at President Obama and his State of the Union address. He brought up the point that China is bringing jobs back to Silicon Valley. They're bringing the jobs back to California and away from China. So we are actually creating jobs, and this business cut is actually going to help. This business cut will allow for more consumption and will allow for more jobs to be made. Now, it has been brought up a couple times in cross-examination by, I believe, Senator D16. Senator D16 brought up the Reagan administration and how he turned it around from one of the biggest tax deficits in the nation to a striving economic threshold. Now, the only way this could have happened was because of harsh tax cuts. These harsh tax cuts actually boosted the American economy into the future and actually stimulated the American economy, allowing them to be an economic superpower. Now, going back over the negation point, Senator A7 brought up one of the most ridiculous points I think I've heard, of how the simple economics brought up by Senator A2 and A9 are irrelevant because it's not how it works. But Senator A2 brought up so many factual points that there is no way it can be wrong. The consumers will spend more because they will have more money. Not all of the money will go to the corporate heads, the CEO, the president, the vice president, because those statistics were brought up by Senator A9. To make such a ridiculous claim like that, how are we supposed to believe it without the proper statistics? Statistics were brought up on the affirmation by Senators A2, A9, and all other affirmation senators, with 18.5% of GDP being because of debt. Now, the claim brought up by Senator A7 is just completely ridiculous because it's to boost the California economy and set us into the future. 31.
What vital state programs might be affected by the massive tax cut that you're proposing?
I'm not entirely sure of any programs off the top of my head. 9.
Businesses are leaving because of high taxes. If we decrease taxes, is it not thought of that businesses will increase?
Absolutely, businesses will come back and more will spring out. 11.
In comparison to other states, where does California fall in the spectrum of high regulation?
On regulations, that isn't even relevant to this debate since the legislation strictly states business tax. 39.
How can we justify conforming to the little corporation by setting the business tax if it may harm the overall economic stability of the California budget?
It won't. It simply won't because the business tax will actually stimulate the California economy. 4.
If you admit that jobs are coming back to Silicon Valley and other parts of California, why is this bill necessary?
This bill is necessary because it will create more jobs than those already coming back. It will stimulate the California economy, like I had previously brought up. And last question, 2. Senator from
The vast majority of jobs in California and the nation are from small businesses. How does Senator A7's graphic argument of corporate greed really stand?
It's simply legitimate. It's completely ludicrous and irrelevant to this debate. All right, thank you, Senator Luan. That is the end of my term as your CEO for Chris Brown.